You hear it before you understand it. That crackle of radio static, then two words cutting through the noise. Roger that. Combat movies, airline cockpits, space missions. Even your friend who's never touched a military radio drops it casually, like he's coordinating an airstrike instead of asking if you want pizza. Everyone says, Roger that. But here's what nobody thinks to ask. Who the hell is Roger? And why have millions of people been telling him that for over a century without knowing what it means, where it came from, or how a single code word designed to survive World War II radio static became the default way to sound like you know what you're doing? But here's what nobody knows. Hidden inside those two words is a forgotten alphabet, a piece of military discipline that escaped into everyday language, and a system so useful it kept working long after the code that created it moved on. Let's start with the obvious thing nobody notices. Radio used to be terrible. 1920s, 1930s. For the first time, pilots could talk to ground control while flying. Revolutionary technology. One catastrophic problem: you couldn't hear anything. Static, interference, entire words disappearing mid-sentence. Imagine you're a pilot in 1935, fuel running low, and ground control says, turn static, degrees static immediately. Did they say 13 or 30? Your life depends on whether you heard a single consonant correctly through crackling noise. This was killing people. So in 1927, radio operators created the phonetic alphabet, a system where every letter got a code word impossible to confuse. A became Abel, B became Baker, R became Roger. Each word was unmistakable, even through static that wanted you dead. But Roger wasn't just the code word for R, it became the word that held the entire system together. But here comes the part nobody sees. During World War II, radio chatter was constant. They needed a way to confirm messages fast, so they used single-letter codes. R meant received, message heard, no errors. But saying the letter R over a bad signal, dangerous. It sounds like R, D, E. So instead, they said the phonetic code word, Roger. Roger meant R meant received, Roger meant I heard your message clearly. That's it. Pilots used it thousands of times a day, but here's what most people don't know. Roger didn't mean I agree or I'll do it. It just meant I heard you. Think about that. And that's when it gets complicated. If you wanted to say I understand and I will comply, you said Wilco, short for will comply. So technically the correct response was Roger Wilco. Translation, I received your message and I will follow your instructions. But over decades, the two words blurred. People started using Roger as if it meant both. The code drifted. Military precision became casual language. And then the system changed completely. Now comes the invisible part. In 1956, NATO replaced the old phonetic alphabet. R was no longer Roger. R became Romeo. So technically, everyone should have started saying Romeo that. But you're probably thinking, that sounds ridiculous. And you're right, because it never happened. Remember that shift to Romeo? Here's what actually happened. Nothing. Roger was already embedded. Millions of transmissions, decades of muscle memory. The official code changed, the habit didn't. And here's where it gets strange. Roger escaped the military entirely. Movies loved it. Apollo astronauts said it during moon landings on live television. Suddenly, every kid wanted to say Roger that when their dad told them to clean their room. It became pop culture shorthand for I'm professional, I'm in control. But why do people still say it instead of understood or okay? Because Roger does something those words don't. It signals you're part of a system. When a pilot says Roger, they're using disciplined communication, the kind that keeps planes from crashing. Saying okay feels casual. Saying Roger feels bulletproof. It carries weight, protocols, procedures. It says, I take this seriously. You can trust me. That's why construction workers use it, why event coordinators say it, why your airsoft friend can't stop. It's not about accuracy anymore, it's about identity. Professional language isn't just functional, it's tribal. It marks you as part of a tradition built on precision. If you're finding this fascinating, hit that like button and subscribe to The Curious Mechanism for more hidden stories. But here's the truth. We use Roger without understanding what we're saying. We've inherited military shorthand designed for life or death clarity and turned it into a way to confirm pizza orders. The code word changed 70 years ago, but the word refused to die. Because precision, once it works, becomes culture. So next time you hear Roger that, or catch yourself saying it, here's what you're really hearing. A code word from a forgotten alphabet, military discipline that became so useful it refused to die, a shorthand invented to survive static and chaos, now used by people who've never heard radio interference in their lives. You're hearing 100 years of pilots trusting the message got through. You're hearing how precision becomes identity, how codes outlive systems, and how language designed for survival becomes the way we signal trust even when there's no danger and no lives on the line. Roger that. If this changed how you see those two words, hit the like button and subscribe to The Curious Mechanism for more. Share this with someone who says Roger that without knowing why. This is The Curious Mechanism, exploring the invisible systems that keep the world running.